It was a hot summer afternoon in 2015, and 5-year-old Riley Canane Peterson was open for business.
Lemonade, jewelry, lemonade, jewelry.
Now, this was Atlanta, Georgia, so a hot summer day was the perfect time for a cup of cold lemonade. But the people who started pulling up to Riley's roadside stand weren't just there to cool off. They were drawn in by the homemade necklaces and colorful charms that Riley had laid out for sale. She'd made them herself. Well, with a little help from her dad, John.
Okay, Riley, so we're going to tie the string around your finger, pull the rope through for a perfect knot. Nice job, you got it.
Riley was so excited to see what people thought of her handmade creations. Lots of kids had lemonade stands, but her business was different. Some curious customers stepped up and took in the table of treasures. Lemonade and jewelry? As they oohed and awed at Riley's designs, she and her dad had to wonder,
Could this be the beginning of something big?
I'm Emma Love, and this is Goodnight Stories for Rebel Girls, a fairy tale podcast about the real-life rebel women who inspire us. On this episode, Riley Canane Peterson and her dad, John Petersen.
Hey, that's us.
We're a daughter and dad duo.
And we're making bold, positive, empowering accessories for all.
John Petersen and his partner, William Canane, were very excited to adopt their daughter Riley in 2009. Both of them had always dreamed of being dads and having a child. From a very young age, Riley showed her creative spirit. She loved to play dress up, decorate her room, make meringues, and visit the Atlanta Zoo and Aquarium. Riley's dad, John, who had studied art at Wesleyan University in Nebraska, wanted to show Riley that it was easy to create beautiful things. He started collecting antique jewelry and assembling them into unique pieces for Riley, as well as other friends and family. At night, Riley loved watching her dad, John, make jewelry at their kitchen table. It was intricate work. There was a lot of detailed measuring, setting stones, cutting chains, and attaching beads and other brooches with pliers. John searched thrift stores and asked friends and family for old castaway jewelry. Soon, they had a trove of beads, baubles, trinkets, and gems to play with. Riley was amazed at the way her dad put his jewelry together.
What if we take these vintage pearls and we connect them to these gold chains?
She watched as he combined different shapes and colors to make a unique piece, and soon had lots of ideas of her own. As her fingers got bigger and stronger, Riley started helping, adding one bead and then another.
What if we put a little pom-pom on the end of this one? Ooh, or maybe use a hot pink string to match that shiny button.
By this point, John was selling some of his jewelry online and at local boutiques, and he wondered what would happen if he were to encourage Riley to create her own necklaces. Which leads us back to that summer day when Riley was 5 years old and decided to sell jewelry at her lemonade stand.
Lemonade, jewelry.
Her customers were very impressed. And after John posted photos of his young entrepreneur on his Instagram account, interested buyers began to flood his feed. In 2015, Riley and John made their business official and eventually settled on the name Gunner & Lux. They gave Riley the very important role of creative director. With more ideas than ever, Riley and John made kids' jewelry using neon strings, wooden beads, vintage treasures, animal figurines, and more. They had so much fun designing and putting together each piece. And in every package, Riley made sure to include a personalized note.
Thank you for buying a one-of-a-kind piece of jewelry. Thank you for ordering an elephant necklace. Thank you for loving rainbows as much as I do.
She always thanked the postal workers, too.
Thank you for always making it easy to mail things, even when I need to buy more stamps.
It was a lot of work, especially for someone who wasn't even 6 years old yet. Next, Riley started by selling her pieces online through Instagram and a blog. Then, when a local Atlanta store was looking to build out their children's section, they asked if she'd be willing to sell it to them in big batches. Riley and John discussed and figured,
Why not?
A year later, Riley and John got another exciting call. This time from a big department store called Barney's, New York.
Hello? Yes, this is he. Oh, wow. Really?
The sales team at Barney's loved Riley's creations and wanted to start selling them too. Riley and John were thrilled.
And overwhelmed.
How could they possibly go from making small orders at their kitchen table to crafting hundreds of pieces daily for a huge department store? Well, for starters, they moved their whole jewelry-making workspace to the top floor of their house. That way, they could spread out with all their materials and keep track of what was in progress.
We also had a ping pong table up there, which was awesome when we needed a break.
To support the business, John decided to quit his day job and work full-time for their company.
I knew that the only way that Riley could still be a kid and have a chance to see where the business could go was if I was available to support it full-time.
So, they set up a daily schedule for designing and pricing their pieces, listing them online and checking the orders that came through. As Riley and John got busier and busier, they decided to send some of their designs to a manufacturer for help creating unique components. While the first samples were being made in the factory, Riley and John kept looking for fun additions like pom-poms or sparkly chains. Once the samples were done, Riley and John had to inspect and approve them. Then, they ordered as many as they needed and started assembling them together for shipping to the retail stores and customers. They were really busy, but they had mandatory
Dance breaks.
As with any business, there were occasional hiccups, disagreements, and Oreo cookie tastings. And of course, school.
School? Are you serious?
Very serious.
Riley knew that no matter how successful her business was becoming, she had to go to school and learn the fundamentals of reading, writing, math, and science. These skills were so important for her to be able to order materials, take inventories, and communicate with her customers. Not to mention, she had a blast showing her friends and teaching others how to make jewelry and accessorize. And after school, she also made silly videos that went something like this.
You're fired.
But I made your favorite dinner. I'll even let you stay up late.
Fine. You're rehired.
Thanks, boss.
After all, they both knew this company would only work if they were in it together.
To whoever's listening, be confident. If you think it might not work, try it. If it doesn't work, try again. You'll get it in the end.
Those are the wise words of Riley, who is now 14 years old and, mostly, loving her life as a creative business leader.
There are some days where I'm just not feeling it, and that's okay. Sometimes it's important to just take a rest.
For sure, William and I have always told Riley that her first and most important job is to be a kid, going to school, learning new things, being with friends, and exploring all her passions. Those are her priorities.
Riley has discovered that advocating for others is important to her, and that her business is one way she can support other women. She and John make sure that they donate a lot of their proceeds to organizations that are important to them, like Human Rights Campaign, Planned Parenthood, and organizations that stand up for gender equality. They also make sure to weave messages of love and acceptance into their products, whether it's a beaded necklace that spells the word feminist or a t-shirt that reads Little Pink Rebel. Gunner & Lux is growing, just as its founders are, with compassion and pizzazz. And their mission will always be to inspire and bring smiles to everyone they meet. As they say,
Fun, cool, flair. Let's think outside the jewelry box.
This podcast is a production of Rebel Girls. It's based on the book series Goodnight Stories for Rebel Girls. This episode was narrated by me, Emma Love, along with
Riley
And John.
John Petersen. It was produced and directed by Haley Dapkus, with sound design and mixing by Mumble Media. The story was written and edited by Abby Sher. Fact-checking by Joe Rhatigan. Our executive producers were Joy Smith and Jess Wolfe. Original theme music was composed and performed by Elettra Bargiacchi. A special thanks to the whole Rebel Girls team who make this podcast possible. Until next time, stay rebel.